Hello, DM Geezer Jim here, continuing with the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. We are doing a chapter by chapter, section by section read through, word by word, line by line, kind of in audiobook mode, and then with a little bit of my personal commentary at the end because I can't help but to express myself. And you know what? I got some valid stuff to say. So hopefully, between the book and the advice, you'll be able to get a good, thorough preview, if not understanding, of the 2024 Dungeons Master's Guide. So let's get into it. The next section is environmental effect. Characters crossing a frigid tundra might suffer under the effects of extreme cold, while a visit to a cloud giant's castle might subject characters to the effects of a higher altitude. The following section provides rules for handling these and other environmental effects. It's just going to be a big and alphabetical listing of different ideas, different things, tools and stuff that you can use for both exactly as they are in his examples. So, the Dead Magic Zone. A dead magic zone is an area where the fabric of magic is torn. This effect is the same as the anti-magic field spell, except that it is permanent and typically covers an area no more than 300 feet in diameter. An anti-magic field would be an aura of anti-magic surrounds you in a 10-foot emanation. No one can cast spells, take magic actions, or create other magical effects inside the area, and those things that can't target or otherwise affect anything inside of the area. Magical properties of magic items don't work inside the area or on anything within the area. Area of effects created by spells or other magics can extend into the aura, and no one can teleport into or out of it or use planar travel there. Portals close temporarily while within the aura. Ongoing spells, except those cast by an artifact or a deity, are suppressed in the area. While an area is suppressed, it doesn't function, but the time it spends suppressed counts against the duration of the spell. Dispel magic has no effect on the aura, and all auras created by different anti-magic spells don't nullify each other. Okay, just so you understand. And it's a large area, it's permanent, and no more than 300 feet. Deep water. Swimming through deep water more than 100 feet deep presents additional challenges because of the water's pressure and cold temperature. After each hour of swimming in deep water, a creature that lacks a swim speed must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution savings throw or gain 1 exhaustion level. Extreme cold. When the temperature is 0 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, a creature exposed to the extreme cold must succeed on a DC 10 Constitution savings throw at the end of each hour or gain 1 level of exhaustion. Creatures that have resistance to or immunity to cold resistance or immunity to cold damage automatically succeed on the save. Extreme heat. When the temperature is 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, a creature exposed to the extreme heat and without access to drinkable water must succeed on a Constitution savings throw at the end of each hour or gain 1 exhaustion level. The DC is 5 for the first hour and increases by 1 for each additional hour. Creatures wearing medium or heavy armor have disadvantage on this save. Creatures that have resistance or immunity to fire damage automatically succeed on the save. Frigid water. Let's zoom in just a wee bit in case you want to read at home, if you're actually reading along rather than audiobook mode. Frigid water. A creature can be immersed in frigid water for a number of minutes equal to its Constitution score, not bonus, before suffering any ill effects. Each additional minute spent in frigid water requires a creature to succeed on a DC 10 Constitution saving throw or gain 1 exhaustion level. Creatures with a resistance or immunity to cold damage automatically succeed on the save, as do creatures that are naturally adapted to living in ice-cold water. Heavy precipitation. Everything within an area of heavy rain or heavy snowfall is lightly obscured, and creatures in that area have disadvantage on all perception checks. Heavy rain also extinguishes open flame. High altitude. Traveling at altitudes of 10,000 feet or higher above sea level is taxing for most creatures because of the reduced amount of oxygen in the air. Each hour such a creature spends traveling at high altitude counts as 2 hours for the purposes of determining how long that creature can travel. See the travel pace in Chapter 2. Creatures can become acclimated to a high altitude by spending 30 days or more at this elevation. Creatures can't become acclimated to elevations above 20,000 feet unless they are native to such environments. Planar effects. Let me Everything's caught up a little bit. Yeah, we're getting make some good progress here. Not a ton of stuff here, but certain planes of existence and areas on the material plane affected by them have supernatural effects on creatures within them. Several examples are presented below. See Chapter 6 for more information about the planes of existence. Example is Acheronian bloodlust. The plane of Acheron rewards a creature for harming other creatures by imbuing it with the strength to keep fighting. While in Acheron or on a region under its influence, a creature gains temporary hit points equal to half its hit point maximum whenever it reduces another creature to 0 hit points. Arcadian vitality. On the plane of Arcadia and in regions where its influence is felt, creatures benefit from supernatural vitality, which grants them immunity to the frightened and poisoned conditions. Beneficence. On the plane of Mount Celestia and in regions where its influence is felt, creatures are blessed by the pervasive beneficence of the plane. Creatures other than fiends and undead gain the benefits of the blessed spell as long as they remain in an area of blessed beneficence. In addition, such a creature that finishes a long rest in that area gains the benefit of a lesser restoration spell. Gehennan cruelty. On the plane of Gehenna and in regions where its influence is felt, creatures are driven to loathe helping one another. Whenever a creature subject to Gehennan cruelty casts a spell, including a spell that restores hit points or removes a condition other than invisible, the caster must succeed on a DC 10 Charisma saving throw or the spell fails and is wasted. The next one is Winds of Pandemonium. The Winds of Pandemonium are common in Pandemonium in regions where its influence is felt, including parts of the Underdark. A creature makes a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw after each hour spent amongst the Howling Winds. On a failed save, the creature gains 1 exhaustion level. The winds can't increase a creature's exhaustion level above 3. Finishing a long rest doesn't reduce a creature's exhaustion level unless that creature can somehow escape the winds. The next section is Slippery Ice. Slippery ice is difficult terrain. A creature that moves onto slippery ice for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there must succeed on a DC 10 dexterity saving throw or have the prone condition. Strong wind. Strong wind imposes disadvantage on ranged attack rolls with weapons. It also extinguishes open flames and disperses fog. A flying creature in strong wind must land at the end of its turn or fall. A strong wind in a desert can create a sandstorm that imposes disadvantage on wisdom perception checks. Thin ice. Thin ice has a weight tolerance of 3d10 times 10 pounds per 10-foot square area. Whenever the total weight on an area of thin ice exceeds its tolerance, the ice in that area then breaks. All creatures on broken ice fall through. Below the ice is frigid water. See frigid water above. And last, as the example, is Wild Magic Zone. A past magical disaster or uncontrolled surge of power in a particular place can cause the fabric of magic to unravel, creating a wild magic zone. In such an area, which is typically more than 300 feet in diameter, magic behaves unpredictably. Whenever a creature expends a spell slot to cast a spell in a wild magic zone, roll 1d20. If you roll 20 on the die, you roll on the Wild Magic Surge table in the player's handbook to create a magical effect. So that's the section on environmental effects. Let's get into it a couple minutes. First and foremost, this is not an exhaustive list, okay? These are provides rules for handling these and other environmental effects. So you can certainly use combinations of these, and some of them will work in combination with each other. You break through the ice into freezing water, you can't swim, the freezing water becomes deep water, and then you've got several different conditions coming in. Extreme cold, deep water, thin ice, frigid water. That's like 3 of these situations that will apply in that one situation. Rime of the Frost Maiden is an example of an adventure that's going to put your players in the situation where all 3 of these could happen. So you will be combining some of these ideas into your own environmental effects. They overlap in certain areas. This is not the complete limit of them, but these are good examples that you need to build off of. If you're in super duper extreme heat, you're playing around in the plane of fire in the city of brass, the players sneak over the wall and they're exposed to it. you want to put a lot of, you're going to maybe double the exhaustion levels or have them save every 10 minutes rather than every hour, for example. So these can provide you guidelines and information to work with what you need to. If you find yourself in a situation where you're playing around with Spelljammer, the high altitude rules can help for when your Spelljammer gets outside of its if someone gets outside of its oxygen envelope or the gravity well of the Spelljammer itself. How do you handle that? Here's some quick stuff for suffocation and things like that. On and on and on. Now the planar effects, these are great examples. You need to have a really good understanding. You need to have an understanding of the cosmic wheel and planescape. But you can take these as inspiration for any of the other outer planes to have an influence both within the plane itself, the gate town around it, etc. So a lot of these are going to help you, adjudicate some rules within the 5e environment that you might have been struggling with classic information, or helps you kind of get a little bit more creative and still have a framework to build your stuff. So the environmental effects is a really good section. I think it's worth a read. I think it's worth keeping notes on for yourself or kind of checking them off. They're not very complex, which is good and bad. It's good in that you can have a quick reference in your mind on how this applies to your players. It's good that it gives you space to make them more or less deadly or more or less complicated as you need to. But it is bad in that it doesn't give you a clear ruling on anything other than surface level. So definitely as you get use these rules in play, be prepared to make a few more of your own personal adjustments to it. But I like the framework that's been given for a new dungeon master, or even some more of us experienced ones that are shifting systems to now see some of the standards that were in play given in good game terms. But yeah, that's the end of the environmental effects section. Our next section is going to be fear and mental stress. We'll get to that here in a bit, and then we'll have a fun talk about firearms after that. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Thanks a lot for joining this little stream. Join us over on Twitch if you want to chat with us live. I'm there Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same name. If you have questions about this stuff and you want to get into live chat, join us there. But other than that, likes, follows, subscribes are appreciated and all the good stuff. And we'll see you soon for another episode. Take care.